Today, I'm back at Motorcar Portfolio in Canton, Ohio to take a closer look at this 1947 Kaiser Custom K101. But before we take the tour, if you're new to the channel, you've hit the gold mine. This is what we do on this channel is we talk about all the cars that never really got talked about, like Kaiser, like Frazer, Edsel, all the orphan cars, Nash, Hudson, Rambler. If you're into that, consider subscribing. If you dig the content, hit the like button so other people can see the video as well. So this is the second Kaiser video that we've done for the channel, so we're not going to get into all the background information about what Kaiser and Frazer was. That would be a little bit redundant, but we'll give a brief background of Kaiser. There was Henry J. Kaiser and Joseph Frazer. They partnered together to make Kaiser-Frazer to take on the automotive world. Henry J. Kaiser was never in the automotive industry, but he loved automobiles and he wanted to take a swing at it right after World War II because the big three, they weren't making anything new. They just blew off the dust off the dies that they had, and they were just going to go to town that way. Joe Frazer, he was an automotive executive, ran various companies. Kaiser-Frazer would buy the Willow Run plant, which was a huge plant that Ford owned during the war to build bombers. The plan, Henry J's plan, Frazer was pretty much around for the ride, let's be real. The plan was to build two car lines. The Frazer, which he wanted it to be a traditional car with 6 cylinders. The Kaiser, he hoped to make from a lightweight material such as like aluminum, front-wheel drive, and have an optional V8. Unfortunately, money was one of the resources that the two lacked. So they had to scale back on both cars, and they were almost identical, as you can see in the advertisement. Kaiser-Frazer started producing cars in June of 1946, and by the end of 1947, they were top 4. So think about that. They were really, really well received. They were above Studebaker and Hudson, and they were a brand new company. Okay, let's talk 1948 Kaiser. We're going to talk about trim levels. So they offered 3 trim levels. Technically 2. There was the special. They made 66,801 of those. And the higher up trim level, which was the custom, they only made 5,421 of those. But they offered a Traveler edition later on, which featured a hatchback and a tailgate thing, which was very unique for the time. I think it actually might be the very first hatchback. In the comment section below, if there was a car that came out before this that had a hatchback, that wasn't a wagon, that was a car. Okay, let's talk specs of the Kaiser Custom. It's a body-on-frame construction. It's 203 inches long, 123.5 inches is the wheelbase, 73 inches wide, 64.5 inches tall, 3,460 pounds is what it weighs. It has an alleged top speed of 83 miles per hour, 0 to 60, 19.1 seconds. The gas mileage is around 15 miles per gallon. It cost $2,456, which would be equivalent to you going down and paying $31,664.12 for something now. Let's talk about the transmission because we're going to go into a side note with the engine. The transmission was a Borg-Warner 3-speed with optional overdrive. And the engine is the Continental 226 cubic inch displacement. It went by the name as the Supersonic 6 later on in life. It had 100 horsepower. It was capable for 180 foot-pounds of torque. Let's talk about Continental, the engine company that supplies the engines. Continental Motors was an engine company that many independent auto manufacturers used as an engine source. But it's important to note that not just auto manufacturers used this engine. It was used in tractors, it was used in stationary equipment such as pumps and generators. Continental Motors was in the business from 1900 to the mid-60s. Continental supplied engines for all kinds of purposes, all kinds of manufacturers, including the big 3. I couldn't find a date of when they started producing the 226 inline flathead 6, but they produced it at least from 1947 to 1962. That is a really long run for an engine that is So fun fact, They started production in June of 1946. By the end of the 1946 year, they made 11,000 cars. By the end of 1948, so in 2 years, they sold 300,000 cars. I just wanted to show you how these door handles operate. Look at how that is. And then you just push it. So just notice the door construction. This is completely framed in. Show you how thick that is. So just check out this door panel. It's three-toned, 3 different materials. There's like a cloth material up here and a different cloth material here, and this is carpet down here. Armrest. Notice this is to get out. Push this button and it lets you out. Window crank. Vent window. Lots of headroom in this car. You could probably wear a hat and drive this car if you wanted to. Going forward, the steering wheel's in my crotch a little bit, but it's not too bad. Just notice what that looks like when you look over the hood at that beautiful flying lady. Here's what the sun visors look like. No mirror or courtesy lights. Same over here. No mirror or courtesy lights. Mirror. This one's got a compass mounted on the windshield, which is pretty cool feature. Okay, on to the button switches and knobs. First up, on the left-hand side, oil pressure. Then right next to it, the amp meter. Moving to the center is the speedometer, and it's kind of like in an arch formation. The odometer is right underneath it. Temperature gauge is right off to the right of the speedometer. And the last gauge in the cluster is the fuel gauge. And notice it's just in a long, slender, rectangular box. It's very slender. Coming back here to the crest of the Kaiser Buffalo. Beautiful horn crest. Coming down below, this is the heat/temperature control. This one has a heater. A heater was an option. We're going to get to the options later. Coming back to the center, all these control climate control settings. There's not one, but 2 ashtrays up here. This is the driver's ashtray, and this is the passenger's ashtray. And just look at the size of that glove box. It's absolutely massive inside there. Coming back right to the right side underneath the steering wheel, there's an AC button. I'm not entirely sure what that does. It's right next to the ignition switch. And then this car is equipped with overdrive, and that lever activates overdrive. Some other features that this car has in the front, it has a nice armrest. Like that. Coming to the back door, it's a lot like the front door, but it's in the back. And you got an armrest here, button to get out. This operates the big window, which can go all the way down. Got vent windows back here too. Just notice all the space that you have back here. Just check this out. This one's got a rear armrest. It's very big and thick and plushy. There is a rope on the back of the seat. I was told that that's to hold your coat as a coat holder. Ashtray. This is what it looks like with me sitting in the back. Lots of headroom. There's lots of space in this car. Both of them. I've been in 2 Kaisers so far. This is the second Kaiser. Lots and lots of space. Just look at how much space. The seats are they're almost in a reclined position back here. Just to show you what the seat profile looks like. So you're kind of reclined back here, which is really nice. dome light at the top. That's what you have behind your head for storage. Okay, to open the hood, it's actually it works out better to be a two-person job. You pull this, and then it pops it. And you come around here, and then when you pick it up, push down on this, and that releases the hood. Underneath the hood, let's talk Kaiser features, more or less options. Everything was an option. Defroster, heater, radio. It's possible to get the radio without the radio antenna because that's an option. Trim rings that were stainless steel, outside mirror, external sun visor. That's the hood that hangs over the front of the car. That was an option. Spotlights, fog lights, front and rear bumper guards. Okay, let's talk about the pros and cons. I am getting these pros and cons from the complete book of collectible cars, Blue Chip Auto Investment of 70 Years, 1930 to 2000. It's by Richard M. Langworth, which is a huge name apparently in the automotive community for reference books. Okay, on to the positives. Very rare, smooth riding road car, significant styling for its time. Against it, slab styling design now looks old. Engine not known for reliability. Interior restorations are extremely expensive. Huge thank you to everybody that watches this content. I really appreciate it because I'm not making these videos for nothing. People are actually watching them and they're appreciating them. Shoot me a comment in the comment section. I read all the comments. If you have a story associated with this car or any other car, put it down there in the comment section. I love reading everybody's stories. But until next time, toodaloo!